on this computer, and we are now in. Hello, Parry. Let me unmute you. Hold on. Yeah, you got to push. Yeah, there we go.
Hello, Lisa.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. That's
Looking
my
fabulous
friend
as
right
always.
there. Huh?
Looking fabulous as always.
Oh, thank you. You
But I
said
just want to congratulate you on reinventing the cavalcade. And from everything that I've read and heard, it's just been an amazing weekend.
it has been.
So congratulations to you and to your tribe.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been different, and I haven't had to do this way. So, like I said, I'm in here, but I'm also juggling. And hey, where are you? There are people coming in. Like you popped in, I didn't have to go find you. There was only a few people that had to, like, because of the time difference of Eastern and Central Standard Time, and people weren't actually sure. So it was, even with the emails, it was awesome still. So I've got the iPad, the phone, the desktop, all of these different things being juggled. So I know next time when we do it in November, what help that I can get from the tribe, because the tribe is there for me. I can say, hey, you do this part, do this part. But we had to execute it first to see what it was like, because I think we're going to keep doing it virtual, even though we will go places like the Bahamas next year, and it's Chicago in April, and then Dubai in 2022. I think we're going to do this virtual for every cavalcade to introduce people to new authors. There are people, you're writing again, you're about to release a book within the next year. People need to know because you were in the graduate class uh, of authors when they first came out. And I'm going to share this and then turn it over to the person that's actually supposed to do your interview, is Pat George Walker. But I will say, Mary B. Morrison was the one that told me about you. I didn't know anything about you. Mary B. Morrison is the one that told me, that woman right there, she put those books in the trunk of her car. She didn't wait for the publisher. She planned her own 30-city tour, and she hit the road. That's how you made it to success. And I was like, that's my kind of woman. And that's why she was saying it, because she wanted me to see you can't wait for a major house to come for you. You can't wait for them to do the right thing by you. You got, and you did, and you pressed forward, and you did the damn thing. And I'm like, hats off. Okay.
Well, when I was testing my connection this morning, I just happened to come in with the life coach.
Eric.
And yeah, and he was like, "Oh my God, he set me on fire," because he said essentially what you just said. You can't wait for it to come to you. You got to swim out to the ship.
Yeah.
You got to get in your little dinghy and swim out there on your own. So, yeah, I was rejected once, and I don't. That's all I needed. I said, okay, I don't take rejection well. I'm just gonna make my own truth. As the author who was before me said, I just made my own truth.
That's an awesome undertaking. I'm gonna turn this over to Pat. I'm gonna mute
My girl Pat. Oh my God, I haven't talked to her forever.
She beat everybody down because she wanted you. As much as I wanted to do the interview, Pat said, no, that's no, I got her. I got her. We go way back. She said
back. Yeah.
Way back. See, I had to end it at way. She said way. So she trumped me on doing this interview.
Hi, Parry.
Hi, Pat.
Oh my
God. Girl. Look at you.
I love you to pieces.
And I love you back.
These young people don't know. They have no idea. But girlfriend, remember that road trip, in Maryland?
Yes, I do.
You don't say nothing about it. I ain't saying nothing about it.
Yes, yeah. We, the one beautiful thing about my 30-city tour was I got to meet almost everyone. And so I got to know all of the authors who were in the struggle personally. And we shared stories and we shared success. And I think that's how we all became more successful, because we learned from each other.
I'm going to stop you right there because I need to read something about you.
Okay.
First of all, I want to welcome you. because you know you have my heart. So we don't see each other a long time, but it's like we just saw one another.
Right, exactly. But that's what real friends are.
That's the love.
Yes.
Okay, so tribe, Parry, A, Brown, Abraham. Are you using Brown or Abraham or both?
Abraham is my government name, but for literary purposes, it's still Brown.
Okay, I understand. Well, Parry EbonySatin Brown is a woman of many passions. The queen of special projects, is a national best-selling author of What Goes Around with One World, Fan in the Flames, my favorite, One World Valentine, The Shirt Off His Back. Now that's the one, that's the one. Villard Books, Sitting in the Front Pew, Villard Books, and self-help books, Sexy Doesn't Have a Dress Size, Lessons in Love. She has also partnered with other talented writers in On the Line, Harlequin, Destiny's Daughters, Kensington, Love is Blind, Urban Books, Kensington, and Proverbs to the People. We both did that one, Kensington, anthologies. As a motivational speaker, this woman of size and color encourages all people to look inside themselves for their worth. She delivers her Sexy Doesn't Have a Dress Size seminar series to standing room only crowds around the world. Now I could read a lot more because you got all of this, all of that. Okay. TV, all of that, newspapers, all of that. But you said something a few years back. We were on a cruise together.
Oh, yeah.
And all the authors, new and old, were seated around. And you told everybody that there's enough room for everybody. There didn't need to be any bickering. Nobody needed to, you know, one up.
Competition.
And you said that one little snippet and people's heads just looked up because the way you presented it in your space was, we ain't got to do all this. You ain't no better than me. I ain't no better than you. We all need one another. And at that time, we were doing the Authors Helping Authors, where if you had a project in California and you needed it to be seen in New York, your project would put on a poster along with everybody else's for someone that was going to New York. Or if I had something that I needed seen in California, my project was put on a poster and you would take it back with you to California. Your journey has been amazing, but if you want to speak to some of the growth and some of the challenges that you've had since then, because your success speaks for itself, but as an overcomer, would you mind speaking to that? Because the theme throughout some of this cavalcade is authors who have overcome.
Oh, goodness. I think that the thing that I overcame first was what I said originally, rejection. And some of us are, if someone rejects us one time, 1,000 times, it doesn't matter. But to others, it's just enough to make you say, well, maybe I really can't do this. The one thing that my daughter has taught me, my daughter is been in a battle with breast cancer for 3 years. Right. And we're praying, she's on the last 2 treatments, and we're praying that she gets to ring the bell before Christmas. But while in chemo and radiation, she attended USC, University of Southern California, and got her master's in social work with honors.
All right.
And at her graduation party, when I spoke, she helped me remove can't from my vocabulary. Because if she can go through that, and she was sick, she still is sick. She was so sick sometimes, she actually threw up on another student in class. But she never, ever lost sight of the prize. So I don't lose sight of the prize. That's my overcoming. Maybe I have to push it a little further down the road because I found that I don't have the energy that I had 20 years ago. And I have a very stressful daytime job, so I don't get to write as often as I want to. But I took Lisa's advice and I write at least 2 sentences every single day.
Well, one other thing that you were going through that touched me because of the way you handled it was with your father.
Oh.
And I wondered how it would impact any of the stories that you would write from that point on, because that was a sea change for me, just watching you go through that. And well, has it touched your writing?
Oh, absolutely. It's the backstory in my next book.
Oh, okay.
My next series is 3 Married Men, but one of the wives is in the search for her father, and she has been for 40 years, and she finally finds him. So I'm really going to tell, that's my story.
Yes.
Just like sitting in the front pew was my family. And everybody was saying, how do you know these people? How do you make up these people? I said, because I'm related to them. I'm related to all of them. This didn't all happen at one funeral, but it happened. So, yeah, but definitely my dad. And I'm so, this COVID thing has me so depressed, I guess, because I only found him 2.5 years ago.
I remember.
And I haven't been able to see him since January. And my plan is to see him 3-4 times a year. So, and he's going to be, later this month, he's going to be 88 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, he doesn't have as many days in front of him as he has behind him. So I just can't, and we were planning Christmas, but we all came to the realization today, Christmas ain't happening.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to be able to get on an airplane and fly back east safely. And we don't want to catch something and give it to him. So, but yes, my father is, I think about him every day, and almost everything that I do is with him in mind. So of course I would have to include it in my writing because it's just that strong.
When you went through it, I was here on the East Coast saying, all right, Parry, all right. Girl, I felt so happy for you. And then I saw the pictures, you know, and oh, it was amazing. But I want to move on to my next question, which is, when you aren't writing, who are some of your favorite authors to read?
Well, Victoria, of course, Victoria Christopher Murray. I discovered Audible lately, and my husband and I have been listening to mysteries and political intrigue. So that's a lot of fun. But if it's just me reading, I read your work, I read Victoria's work, Kimberly Lawson Roby. So just who it's really the old gang.
Right.
I don't know a lot about the newer authors, but I want to get to know them. And things like this are helping me to get to know some work, because I was listening to a read when I came on to test my connection. And I was like, oh, dang, I need to get that one. So yeah.
Exactly. Well, all right. One of my favorite books is Fan in the Flames.
That's
so
my
I
favorite
have
too.
to ask you, even though I might know the answer, everybody else might not. What inspired you to write about Black firefighters?
Well, when I did that 30 city tour, which ended up being, I don't know how many cities, a very close friend of mine was attending a semi-annual firefighter convention that was regional. And he said, I can guarantee you, if you show up in Little Rock, Arkansas, you will sell 200 books. He didn't have to say anything else. And from that moment on, a love relationship was born with Black firefighters. And as I attended all of these conventions twice a year, I got to know them. I started interviewing them. I heard about their struggles, and I knew that I had to tell their story. So it took me 3 years of gathering information. I actually did a ride along with a local fire company here in Los Angeles. And it was just an amazing journey. journey, I guess is the right word. And even today, I'm still in touch with most of them. And in 2020, there is still racism in the fire department, if you can believe that.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. I remember when this had to be like, what was it, 2000, 1999? When did Fan in the Flames come out?
Oh, that came out in 06.
06?
04, I'm sorry.
Okay, so it had to be, what was the first book?
Shirt Off His Back.
Pardon
me?
The
Shirt Off His Back was the first one.
Right, The Shirt Off His Back, about the father.
Yes.
Okay, so what year did that come out?
That came out in 1999. That's the one that I self-published and went out on the road to promote. Okay,
that's the one that everybody was talking about, The Shirt Off His Back, because what inspired you to write a story about a man that was so giving?
Because I had never read about a good Black man in a book. Yeah. And I was sick and tired of only hearing what Black men don't do when all the Black men in my circle do.
Exactly.
And I was reading, it was a Terry McMillan book. And when I put it down, I was like, you know what? I am sick of this. And I was real active in the online community. So I was a part of a semi-monthly newsletter. So I started publishing chapters through that. And then someone said to me, send me your manuscript. I have a friend that's a publisher. And I didn't realize I was writing a book at the time because it was only going to be 3 installments. And then I was like, wow. So I kept it going and I got probably into it for like 9 months. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to finish this and I'm not going to publish it on the newsletter. I'm going to publish it in a book. And that's how I came to sell. I sold 2,000 books immediately because everybody wanted to know what was happening at the end.
And when you say everybody, you mean everybody.
Everybody, yes.
Black, white, indifference, because I think there was a need to not only see a Black man doing well, doing as a man should, but white men, they fall short too.
Yes, yes.
Men fall short. But the way you did it, the way you presented it, and with the cover, with the little girl on his shoulder, like Daddy got you.
Yeah, exactly.
Daddy got you.
And it was inspired by he's still one of my best friends. It was inspired by him and some of the single fathers that I know. And my brother-in-law, God rest his soul, he was one of the single fathers who took his children and raised them because his ex-wife was crazy. I mean, you know, like prescription getting checked in the mail type crazy. Mm-hmm. And he did it almost flawlessly. It was so natural to him. And we hadn't read about any Black men like that in our literature. They were always doing wrong. They were always cheating. They were beating their wives. And that is not who we are.
No, not the majority. No,
exactly.
Not the majority.
It's kind of like police officers. The few bad apples
spoil the whole
have spoiled the cider. So because I know law enforcement is in your soul because you were married to somebody in law enforcement, and we know what a great husband Rob was.
Oh yeah.
So that was who I wanted to represent, Rob.
Yes, he was. Well, I'm going to open it up. Lisa, can I open it up to the panel? Because see, I know Parry, and I can sit here and talk to Parry all night, but I don't want to take away what she has to give to the other panelists. So if anyone in the tribe has any questions or whatever, Lisa Dobson, I see you waving your hand. You're up.
Hey, Parry.
Hey, Lisa.
Oh, how are you? Well, you know, the last name has changed since last we spoke, but hey.
Oh, girl, we need to chit-chat.
So it's not so much a question that I have for Parry. It is basically like what I wanted to say is this: when Parry says there's enough room for everybody, she really, really means it, because if it was not for her, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Pat Simmons and I met her back in 2002 at Romance Slam Jam in Raleigh, Durham. And oddly enough, that's where I live now. But she didn't know us from Adam. Well, she knew Pat because Pat had done a radio interview with her, but she didn't really know us. And I had literally just met Pat like probably that weekend. And so Pat just grabbed me along with her and went to approach Parry about doing a anthology. And so Parry said, yes, sure. And it was funny because later Parry's like, girl, I did not know y'all were serious. But when she's, because she was like, y'all go ahead and go write your story and then send it to me. And we did, because we were just aspiring writers. And we did as she suggested. And that is where Love is Blind, one of the anthologies from 2004, that is where that came from. So I just wanted to say thank you, because you lit a fire and you made it possible for me to be sitting here right now staring at you with love and adoration. And it's just been an amazing journey. And so that is one of the things that I'm passionate about, is paying it forward. Because oddly enough, not every author does that. And it's shocking to me sometimes when people that aren't in the know, and you come in young, blind, and stupid, and you kind of learn as you go in a lot of ways. And so for some I've seen, it's like, oop, don't ask me nothing. I don't know nothing, haven't seen nothing. And then there's other authors that it's like, girl, pull up a chair. And so that is just something that has always resonated with me. It's always sat in my soul. And so I just want to say thank you.
Well, it was definitely my pleasure and my honor. And, you know, I just want to add a little bit more to that. Not only is there enough readers for every author, but each one teach one. Even no matter how successful you are, no matter how educated you are, there is always something you can learn.
Oh, yeah.
And these types of events are what helps you know what you don't know. And I always pay it forward. Always, 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 always. Because Victoria was my mentor. She still doesn't think so, but I know I would not have the success that I have if it had not been for her. So it was my obligation to pay it forward. And Lisa's funny because, yeah, I did not believe them, because if I had a dime for everybody who told me they were writing a book, right? Oh yeah, baby, you when you finish, don't send me no chapters. When you finish, we'll talk. But like she said, her and Pat, it was only a few short weeks or months later. And but you want to talk about irony? My father was living in the Raleigh-Durham area when I was there.
What?
Yes. So next time I come to North Carolina, I didn't know you were there.
Yes, please. I'm in Raleigh. Absolutely.
He lives in Cary. I mean, not Cary.
Oh my
Holly
God.
Springs. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's like 45 minutes for me, 30.
Yeah. So when I fly in, I go into Raleigh-Durham Airport.
Yes.
Well, guess what? I'm in Statesville.
Shut up! Okay, so when this COVID mess is over,
we gotta grab Anita too, because Anita's, where are you? Hickory?
Oh my goodness.
No!
Yeah. I'm in Hickory, yes.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're gonna have us a little
Oh my gosh, yes.
That is small world. Talk about small world.
Yeah. Layla, are you going to let me know when I need to wrap it up? I have 4 minutes. Okay, Parry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, here's my question to you. You are the type of person, I feel, that I've seen over the years who has an open heart. And your stories show that. are you interested in writing something else that's different than what you have written? With the open heart, and I mean, all your goodness just seems to, you teach a lesson, but you do it in such a well thought out way. Is there any other genre, any other story you want to tell that is different from that?
I've never thought about that question, but if I can honestly say, I don't think so, because I would not be being true to myself.
Okay.
It would be, I think it would be, challenge is not even an adequate word for how difficult that would be for me, because of my, I just don't think that way.
Well, one of the reasons I asked that is because I'm coming across several authors who seem to think that they need to go with the flow. And
oh no.
One of the things that Maya Angelou told me back in the 70s when I spoke to her about becoming an author, out of everything that she said to me, the one thing I remember was be honest. I always remember those words, be honest. So now that I see authors who came up like me and you know, the 20-year, 25-year, 30-year, Donna Hill, everybody, I'm wondering, do they still feel that way? Or do they feel competitive? The competition is pushing them to do something else.
Well, when street fiction, when urban fiction became the thing, I said, well, if this is how I need to write, I'm going to quit now. Because I grew up, not in the suburbs. I lived in the city in Baltimore, but we were west of Fulton Avenue. So that was like being on the other side of the tracks. And so I don't know those experiences. And my daughter, the one that just graduated with her master's, she decided that she was grown and she didn't want to listen to me. So she moved back to Baltimore and she was in the streets. And a lot of you remember when I adopted her daughter. I was at a convention in Ohio and got the call that they were taking her baby to foster care. And I believe it was Donna who had to actually finish talking for me at that particular event. But even when she was on the street, she said that her associates would say to her, well, you know what it was like to have your water cut off and your electricity? And she'd look at him and say, no, I don't know. So I can't even write to that. I can't even, it would just be so hard. It would be almost impossible. Nothing's impossible, but I would have I'd have to do research for it to be genuine.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Are there any other questions from any of the tribe?
Actually, we're gonna need to wrap this up. I've got to show one last thing so that we can see where we can find. There we go. Those are some of the books from Parry. And I also want to make sure that we share one more thing because you were the host. All right.
Beautiful covers. Beautiful covers. That Heaven Can Be Held, that cover is just fire.
Well, let me tell you something. J.L. Woodson, the book cover guru.
Yes.
He did Heaven Can Be Held. He did Fire in the Water. And I dare anyone to say that they aren't better or just as good as the ones that Kensington did, all the others.
Oh, better, much better.
Well, I don't want to say that.
You know why they're better? Because they're us.
Yes.
They don't understand us. I remember that. I know we got to go, but I remember this. I'm going to say this and I'm going to say goodbye. I remember when I wrote Sookie Sookie, I said, oh, Sookie Sookie now. And the editor came back and said, what is this? So that just tells you how Black she wasn't.
Parry, I love you.
I love you too. I love all you guys.
Oh my goodness. I just pray that you continue with much success. I pray for your daughter that God places his healing hand on her. She will be in my prayers, as will you. You will always, always have a place in my heart. Always.
But I'm going to, I'm going to get together with you guys so that we can make arrangements for when I come back to North Carolina.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Now, Layla, it's back in your hands, sweetie.
Thank you so very much. I really appreciate both of you. I'm going to put this on